What's up, everybody? It is Monday, and it's time for some master motivation. My name is Jason Flame, and my guest today is Mr. Derek Frader. I'm super excited to have you here today. And just to give everybody a heads up, first of all, if you're watching, please just drop us a quick comment. Let us know you're watching. I hope that you guys are watching from either my Facebook page or my personal profile. Let me know where you're watching from, just so I make sure I see all your comments. I see Dane Evans is watching. Thanks for checking out that cool new intro. Thank you to Mike Sergott for hooking that up. But the reason that I'm doing these videos, guys, is I have 52 guests lined up for the year. I'm so super excited to really just dive into the people that have motivated me, have inspired me, friends, family, people in the martial arts industry, and just anywhere, anybody. And Mr. Derek Frader is one of those people. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was an honor for you to actually reach out, and I was surprised and very happy to be able to join you today. So thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, I remember the first time that we met. It was probably at the XMA headquarters when they were having a big event, and we also spent some time together at the Super Show a few times. And you've been out to the school and been one of our guest instructors. As a matter of fact, I tried to lure you out here to come to California.
Yes, sir.
But is that all correct? Is that what you remember first time we
Yeah.
met?
Yeah. I think that X-Men headquarters thing, you brought some of your team down, was it? And
Yes.
you guys joined us there, and we had stars in there from Mark Anizato, Caitlin Deschelle, Sideswipe up there. I mean, it was the house is packed. And so yeah, big event there. And then of course, I mean, countless times at the Martial Arts Super Show. It was great for us to be able to connect. And then of course, Mrs. Frader and Mrs. Flame were there too, so they got to connect and do their thing while we got to do our thing. So that was always a good time.
Definitely, definitely. Good times. Let's real quick. Dane, thank you. Thank you for checking in and watching today. I know you love watching the videos, and you're going to learn about a really good friend of mine and an amazing martial arts instructor, um, athlete. So much to talk about. Thank you, Kinsey, for checking in. She's saying, "What's up?" And
Was it?
John Hackelman. John Hackelman was our last guest
Hey,
last week, the pitmaster in the house.
you
What's
doing,
up?
sir?
How are you? All right. So hey, let's dive right in. Talk a little bit. I know this is hard for us as martial artists. Talk a little bit about yourself. Tell us. Give me your background. For those people that don't know you, talk a little bit about growing up as a kid, getting involved in martial arts. The floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah. You kind of hit it on the head right there. I was thinking on my way over here to do the interview that I just wanted to catch up with you actually, because you've been doing so much. Like we got to connect. I think one of these days there's got to be a master motivation where you're the guest because of everything that you're doing. So that's got to be in the works. But yeah, my background, I started martial arts training. I did a little bit when I was 5 or 6. I think everybody did then. It was one of those sports where okay, try karate, try soccer, try basketball, try all those things. There's a lot of just trials, back then. And but I never really jumped into it until I was 8 years old. I think for a majority of our instructors may have similar stories, but also definitely a lot of the students that we taught have a similar story where it was a bullying situation, getting bullied and not just the name calling, but it was, chase more physical back then. We didn't have social media or the bullying nonstop on Instagram or Snapchat or anything. It was slammed against the locker, getting chased home from school, that kind of stuff. So being raised by my mom and my grandma, they wanted definitely for me to have a male figure in my life and to have a father figure, but somebody that can lead me in that way. So they took me to martial arts school. It was actually at De Palma's Team USA. Named Fred De Palma. He's still very active out here in Arizona, doing great things. Chris Robinson was the instructor then, and I went in there and just fell in love. I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't coordinated. I didn't have balance. I mean, it was embarrassing. I was one of those students, one of those kids, and so.
Well,
Uh, but go
Let me
on. Go
jump
on.
in. Let me jump in there real quick. Because you brought up something that I think, well, not I think, I know a lot of students look towards martial arts and look towards their martial arts instructor as that father figure, as that big brother, as that role model. Talk a little bit more about that, and how young did that start, that that became your father figure?
Yeah, I never known my father, no known history on him or anything like that. I'm an only child, so don't have any older brothers or anything. I was picked on a lot, so not a lot of friends. So literally, the martial arts school, that was my safe haven. Like, that was my home base. I would get home from school, I would do my homework, and I would go to the school just to be there. Probably too much, but it was where I felt the most like myself. It was where I was free to be me. And I think that that's something that maybe we don't give instructors enough credit for, is martial arts isn't a bench warmer sport. Nobody sits on the bench when they come to class. Everybody plays every class. And that's unlike anything else, because you're on teams, you're on Division 1, you're on basketball, football, you get cut. I don't think anybody's going to get cut from martial arts. Instead, it's the opposite. When you're struggling, we don't cut you. We give you private lessons. We help you more.
Right, right.
So to have that encouragement and to be made felt that it was okay to not be the best, and to instill in me just to do my best, it was huge for me. I loved it, and that led me into helping with classes and eventually becoming an instructor from there.
And you know how convenient today is Get Up Day, right? It's National Get Up Day, and you're talking about being down, and how martial arts has brought you up, and you've had those mentors and instructors. You mentioned Fred DePalma, and I would love to have him on the show. But talk about some of the other, because you have had, I mean, the top of the top in the martial arts industry that you have worked with, trained with, taught for. Talk a little bit more about some of the other mentors through martial arts that you've had.
Oh yeah, definitely a great pedigree. I've definitely been able to been blessed with the knowledge that I've gained from these instructors. I mean, I've had everyone. Mr. Meza, Raul Meza, Guinness Book of World Record holder. He's still training today. Still, an instructor today. Long line of martial arts there. He's actually one of my best friends, godfather to my daughter. I mean, so Raul Meza is definitely a huge influence for me. Besides that, Mike Chat, being able to go out and be the general manager and director over there at the X-Men headquarters underneath him, and just to be around him, he has so much general knowledge of everything, not just martial arts. So that really helped guide me as a person, as a man. So that was a big one there. Jesse Elder out in San Antonio, Texas. I was fortunate enough that actually, now we're kind of skipping back and forth, but it's important right here. Uh, when I started teaching martial arts, I started assisting with classes when I was about 10 or 11. And when the Palmas, we had a situation where one of the instructors got in a bad car accident. They needed coverage at one of the schools. And so I was 13. I was teaching classes at that school. And nobody knew I was 13. I didn't carry myself as a 13-year-old, because I was just copying what I saw the other instructors do, imitate before you innovate, that kind of thing. So I was just like, well, that worked for me. So I'm just going to say what they said. I'm just going to do what they did. And
Right.
it worked out okay. And from there, I decided this is what I want to do the rest of my life. I don't want to do anything else. All of a sudden, everything in junior high, middle school didn't seem as important. Like, all that drama, it wasn't, very at the front of my mind anymore. It was, okay, when I get done, I got to go teach. I got to do this. So I started going to school an hour early so I could get out an hour early. And so that way I could go teach. And I would teach until 9 o'clock, and then do my homework, and then repeat the next day. And eventually that wasn't enough. So I met with my counselor, and I had to have a talk with the principal and then the school board. But I was able to test through, and I got my high school diploma when I was 15 years old. And then I was able to teach full time starting at 16. And so that was great. When I was 17, I moved to San Antonio, Texas, and got to teach out there at East West Karate underneath Jesse Elder. And again, that was a huge, huge point in my life, because I moved 1,000 miles away from everything that I've ever known, all my family. Raul Meza was out there. I actually followed him out there and joined him. He was teaching, and we got to teach together again. So that was great. And I really put a testament of what I was, taught as a martial artist, to be able to stand on my own 2 feet, to get up and stand on my own 2 feet out there.
And we see that, that's something that we develop, and we'll get to talk about a little bit more, is developing leadership within our schools and within our instructors. I mean, 13 years old is pretty young to be teaching, and graduating early to teach full time. I mean, I can remember in high school, I would go teach private lessons at 6 a.m. and then go to school at 7:30. So we have this passion for teaching, and we know what it's done for us, and now we are bringing up the next group of instructors. I've been fortunate, over the last 30 years, I've seen many phases of different instructor teams that have passed through. And it's amazing, even when they move on past the karate school, to see what they do in the rest of their life. One of our next guests, Nick Kennedy, was one of our main instructors here at our school. He's gone on to be a police officer, and he's a training instructor. And he talks all the time about that leadership role and those leadership skills that we learn from martial arts. I mean, and by the way, I never knew that you graduated high school at 16. That's a new one for me. I learned something new right here.
Yes,
So
sir. Yeah.
it drove you to teach. Now remind me, you grew up where?
Here in Arizona, I grew up a combination of in Arizona and California, back and forth, and then 17 San Antonio, and then after that again, it was a combination of Arizona and California.
Right. Because when were you here? When you were at Chat School, was that 2010?
Yeah, I was gonna say probably about 2011,
Okay.
2012, because
Right,
my
right,
daughter
right.
was just about a year or two. I think a year old, 2 years old. Yeah,
It's crazy how our kids grow up so fast, huh?
yeah. My youngest was, yeah.
So now you also worked under and worked with Mr. Greg Silva.
I did, yes. Still do. I'm fortunate enough to still be able to work with him. Grandmaster Silva, I met him underneath Fred De Palma, and then we just kept a relationship since then. We reconnected again years later, and we were able to work together not only at a school, but also I was able to go and start doing some teaching and consulting with United Professionals and Black Belt Schools International. And I still do that as well on the side. So still teaching and certifying instructors through that program too.
And recently you've somewhat retired from martial arts instruction and moved a little bit more onto the consulting and leadership role, teaching martial arts teachers. How has that been for you? What's it like to not be on the mat day in and day out? Because that's like our spotlight, right? That's like being on stage all the time.
Now it feels like I left home. Like, I feel like I moved out finally in my 30s. But yeah, I miss it. I think everybody does when they retire, when they stop. Um, but it's not that I'm done. It's just that I'm not teaching full time. It's where I'm broadening my scope of what's possible in my life, and teaching and martial arts, all of it is always going to be a part of my life, no matter what. It's always going to be there. I'm get to go visit Mr. Snyder out in Kentucky in March, teaching a instructor college out there for Black Belt Schools International. So that's gonna be our first one for 2021. I've got some extra things I'm doing out here in Arizona with some special videos for online virtual classes for schools. So I'm always there helping out, in one way or the other, but also still have my hand in there, teaching some way.
We always find our way back in and out, no matter what, right? Now, you have experience as a school owner as well, and we talked about the struggles growing up of being bullied or being picked on, and low confidence, and martial arts helping to bring that up. You became a school owner, and you also found some struggles there. Talk a
Oh,
little bit about some of the struggles of being a school owner.
it was definitely not what I thought it was going to be. When you're an instructor and you're a teenager and you're thinking that, oh, I'm going to teach classes. I get to work from 3 o'clock until 9 o'clock, and I'll be done. I'll have every morning, and I'll have my weekends. And you become an owner, and all of a sudden you realize there's way more that goes into it. That the teaching is what you get to do, not what your job is. The job happens from 8 a.m. in the morning till probably an hour before you teach, and then that hour is lunchtime, right? And then you teach, and that's your fun time. And then after teaching, then you go back to work, and you work for another 2 or 3 hours. And it was an eye opener. It was definitely put up or shut up moment for me, where I'm either going to rise to the occasion or I'm going to fail. And I failed plenty of times. And, it was learning experience along the way. But then I also had resources that I was able to reach out to that I learned of, through Maya, through professionals, through other school owners that were lending helping hands and knowledge and tidbits. So I definitely had stepping stones. Some of those steps had wider gaps in between, but they were there. And that was the biggest eye opener, is that there's more to the martial arts business than just the teaching. Sure, we have our meat and potatoes, but we have to have everything encompassed around as well.
Man, I hope that my instructors are watching. I hope that my students are watching and listening to someone else say those words, because, quite honestly, over the last several years, I have been very, very blessed and very fortunate to have a team that essentially runs our school, teaches day to day. And people think that because I only teach, 2 to 3 classes a week, and that I'm not here all the time, what people don't see is, like you said, that behind the scenes. I mean,
Hmm.
it's not 8 a.m. to an hour before class. It's from the time you wake up, or even while you're sleeping, until the time you go to bed. And I'm surprised you ever got an hour lunch, because I have never, I can't ever remember having an hour long lunch.
You know that our lunch was spent doing stuff. You have your meal right there, and you're eating while you're still answering emails. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I remember coming home and eating dinner, hanging out with the kids for a little, putting them to bed, and then literally just setting up my computer and on the floor of my bedroom. My wife is watching TV, and we're just together. But I'm still sending emails, and my students and my families the next day are like, "Why are you sending me emails at 3 a.m. in the morning? Like, why are you sending us these reminders at 1 a.m. in the morning? Like, why don't you just go to sleep?" Because it's there. Like, if you don't get it out, if you don't get on paper, you don't make it real, then it's gonna go away. So, yeah, it's real. It's 24 hours a day.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. So, talk a little bit about your family. You've got a great wife, and you've got a few kids.
Mhm.
Talk about them a little bit, because they've all participated in the martial arts as well. I believe,
Yes,
is everyone a black belt now?
they are. Yeah,
Everyone. Okay, all the way down.
Um, so my wife and is a first degree. My oldest daughter, she's first degree. My son's a second degree. And then my youngest daughter, she just got her first degree in the ATA, and she wants to continue, and she wants me to keep training her on the side. She wants to eventually go up to second degree, and then she wants to be a third degree. She wants to be a higher rank than her mom and her older siblings. So we can do but yeah, no, they are a huge staple. We talk about raising kids. It takes a village. It's not just one person or anything like that. But running a business takes a strong family. And I mean, you look at your Facebook and you look at all these happy moments. It's kind of like the picture album, right? You look at a picture album and you see all these happy moments, but you don't see all the struggles in between the pictures. And you see all these posts on Facebook and all these happy moments, but you don't see the struggles in between them. You don't see the nights where the kids miss you. You don't see the days that you're missing out on going to a family member's birthday party because you're teaching a student's birthday party. There's a lot that goes into a lot of sacrifice, and it's not just the sacrifice of us as the instructors or the owners, but the sacrifice of our families, and because they have that belief in our dream or our passion. And so that fueled me to work even harder. That fueled me to do even better, or to train my staff even harder so that way I could feel that confidence in leaving them there, and they could have that pride knowing that they're going to do a good job even when I'm not there. So that's that. So yeah, I definitely owe a lot, if not all of my ability of success that I had in the past to my family, my wife, my kids.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sacrifice that goes on in any career, not just martial arts, of course, and having that strong family bond, that strong relationship. You've met my wife, and you know how she's so supportive and right there. I mean, she was literally sitting there the day I taught my first class at the rec center, collecting papers, collecting uniform money, and all that stuff. And she continues. We just had a black belt test on Saturday, and I mean, she takes the most amazing pictures for our team. And it's just, I've always said that my wife was the heart of our school. I was kind of the brain and the muscle behind it, but she was really the heart. And it's great to have that cohesiveness, not just in your business, but in life. And we all go through struggles, right? Yes, Facebook looks beautiful. Facebook, we only post what looks great, right? But like you said, it's the in between moments that actually make those moments even stronger and even better and even more worth it, right? I mean, the struggle is make what makes it worth even more. So talk a little bit about how you've transitioned now into you have a new career. So talk about a little bit what you're doing now.
Um, so, well, before I get into that, I had to tell you this because you just brought it up, and I haven't thought about this memory in a long time. You talked about Jackie, about your wife being at the black belt testing. One of my fondest memories is when my wife joined me on the panel of one of our black belt testings, and she only did it once, and it was myself, my wife, and Grandmaster Silva, and we had another visiting instructor from out of state, and it was a black belt schools international testing along with my school's testing. So we had everyone from my students all the way up to 6th degree black belts testing. It was huge, right? And I just remember that we're going through, and these guys did a hike in the morning, their forms on top of a mountain. They had been training and working for 6 to 7 hours already, and then we're doing basics, and they were throwing their kicks and they're yelling and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, it's good, it's good. And I'm like, what do you guys think? And Silva's like, yeah, looking good. I looked at my wife, and what do you think? And she, with the straightest face ever, looks at the students and says, again. Oh, well, you heard Mrs. Frader. One more time, let's go. And she says, Mr. Smith, Jason Smith, he remembers that testing. They did it again. She goes, again. And I'm like, okay. And I just remember Mr. Silva leaning in, like, what? She's tough. Like, what's going on? So I'm like, honey, what's up? And so she's told them, she goes, this is for your black belt. This isn't for any other belt. This is your black belt. This is how you want to remember your black belt test. This is how you want to. And I'm like, whoo, God, all right. And that the next round, the third time they did it, boom, the kicks are higher, they're yelling, and I'm like, why don't you just here's the testing papers, you go ahead and take over. But it was great. It's great when we can share that with our spouse. But yeah, my new career, I'm actually a lead manager over at Amazon Central Operations, and so it's quite a big transition from where I was before, in a sense. Yes, I'm not teaching martial arts and I'm not teaching punching and kicking, but one thing that is congruent with Amazon and what we do that I didn't even know was life skills. Amazon has principles that we put as part of our daily verbiage and language. It's amazing, about deep diving, about ownership, about responsibility, about positive affirmations. I mean, they have all these great things that we focus on, and we have our daily manager meetings where we're highlighting our associates, and then we have our trainings where we're training people, we're bringing the next people up, and so it's definitely a proactive type of company where they're looking for that next level leader, next level person rising up through the ranks. And so that's pretty cool there. But in a nutshell, what we're doing at Central Ops is we have the fulfillment centers all over the world where they're shipping out packages and everything there. We don't ship any packages from central operations. Instead, we're under the roof, proactive and reactive escalation development. So whenever there's an escalation in the field, it needs to be resolved. Like a driver has a flat tire, packages aren't being delivered, there's flooded a warehouse, anything like that, we'll handle it in an instant. On top of that, we print all the badges for employees for Whole Foods, for Ultra Fast Fresh, for Locker Plus. So we're sending out thousands of badges every single week to all the employees. We're sending invoices to all the sites all over Europe and Spain and America. And so we're just kind of keeping all of that moving forward. And it's really powerful because we get a bunch of feedback, not just from supervisors and other Amazon employees, but also customers as well. And with the current state of the world and everything going on, Amazon kind of got to the forefront of at-home delivery, keeping people safe, keeping people healthy, being there for everyone. So it's cool to be a part of that and to still be in a field where I can feel like I'm helping someone. With what I'm doing.
And I'm sure, like you said, a lot of what you learned and a lot of what you trained as a martial artist and as a martial arts instructor, business owner, translates very nicely into pretty much anywhere else. And like you said, the leadership skills and all the life skills are so important. I got to say, my wife must be, if she's watching right now, she's got to be a super fan because she's a micro influencer on Amazon. I don't know if you knew that, but she has her own Just Shop with Jackie. It's Facebook page, Instagram, little group. She's got several thousand people following her, and she loves to shop. And trust me, Amazon is hitting my house on the daily, right? So we've always got Amazon on our doorstep, and but so she posts clothes that she wears and stuff that she buys, and she makes a little something on the side. I mean, it's been kind of fun for her to have her own thing.
That's awesome. See, yeah, Crystal buys from Amazon too, but she's not making anything with it, but she's making me pay for it, so that's good. But
Right, right. Well, if you want, you can go and buy it from Jackie's links, and you can help make me money.
oh, all right. Wait.
Anyway, hey, so let's talk. Let's kind of switch gears a little bit more, and what are some challenges that you had going into the new career transitioning, and how did you overcome them? Like, what kept you motivated? And because that's to go from, like, almost 15, 20 years of one area of your life to switch. um, what motivated you to do that, and what motivated you to get through the humps?
Sure. So, I mean, we all went through 2020, and we all had a lot of ups and downs and struggles and everything that happened. My wife, uh, she went through one, I think, a bigger struggle than me, because since I've known her, she's had two dreams in life. One of them was to be a nurse, and the other one was to be a flight attendant. And she got to be a phlebotomist, run a lab, and be a CNA, and everything. And then she got her dream to become a flight attendant for American Airlines. And she's a Spanish speaker, so she travels all over the place, Guadalajara, Madrid, I mean, everywhere. It was amazing. And then she got furloughed. So she got to have her dream career for almost 2 years, and then she was let go due to COVID when the airlines got hit like that. That was tough, and so we lost her benefits, we lost a lot of things that dual income, all of that stuff that we had. And so at that point, was okay. Well, what are we going to do? There's our entire marriage, our entire life together. Whenever I got a position, a new career, she dropped whatever position she had, and she followed me to that state. And when I moved to California to work for XMA headquarters, she quit here and she went with me. When I got the opportunity to work back here in Arizona and work with Greg Silva, she followed me back here. When we got the opportunity to go to San Antonio and work for Chief Master von Schmeling, she followed me out there. So it was a lot of sacrifice that she did willingly and happily, even because she knew that it was going to be good for our family. And it got to the point to where at this juncture, seeing the distress and seeing her sadness, it hit hard. And I had a heart to heart with her, and I asked her, like, what do you want to do? Like, I'll follow you now. Like, I'll do what you want. And so we said, let's open up our spectrum. Let's widen our scope of what we're normally doing and what we're normally looking at. So I created an Indeed resume. I went online, started looking at positions in California, started looking at positions in Arizona, started looking at positions in Texas, everywhere that we could, that she has an interest to travel and find a position at. And then uh, I got a position, this opportunity here with Central Operations with Amazon, and we talked about it, we prayed about it, and then she got an opportunity to work out here with the hospital that she used to run a lab at. And so it all just kind of lined up together. And it took a little longer for this opportunity for her. She's actually there now, working now, but we decided that this is where we're going to be. Our family's out here. Her parents are out here. Mine are out here. Her sister, everybody is out here. She has like 2,000 family members out here. I've got like 5. But it was just a matter of, okay, it's your turn. and I'm going to follow you. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Let's go back to be with our family. Let's head back here. And we miss San Antonio dearly. We were able to build a lot of great relationships out there. We got to, we gained acquaintances, and then those acquaintances turned into friends, and those friends, evolved into family members. So now we have family in San Antonio. Now it's like, okay, now she talks about, how do we get back to San Antonio? Okay, well, you're in control. Where do you want to go?
Right,
And
right.
so it's just all over the place. But it was a positive change. It was also different because, I mean, as a martial arts instructor, you're not home for dinner very often, and you're not there on the weekends very often. And so this opportunity gave me the ability to, be on 4 days and off 3 days and still be able to provide for my family. So we jumped at it, and we've been enjoying it since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you brought up the fact that when things got rough, and things were challenging, you had to make some hard decisions. That you and your wife prayed on it, and I know you're a man of faith. Talk about how your faith has kind of carried you through your life from being a young man, a child, to now.
Sure. The maturity there is basically throwing a temper tantrum to understanding that there's not very many things in this world that I'm in control of. So, when I was younger and I was teaching or even owning a school or working at a school, and something would happen, I would get frustrated, and I would get be take it personal, like, a student quit. Why'd that student quit? I'm going to go talk to my staff. What did my staff do? Or, oh, the school was dirty and that's why they quit. Or, this happened, or this student didn't come in for their first class. What did we do wrong? Did we not call? Did we not do this? And I took it personal. And even though we had systems in place where, the school's spotless, my team is flawless, and the calls were made, and we have record of confirming that they're going to be there, sometimes they're just not going to show up. Sometimes it's just not going to go that way. And so, through years and years and years of praying and learning more about faith and how it works, is, faith isn't always, you know, where you can see it and you can feel it and you can hear it. Faith is almost the exact opposite, where you just have to trust it, that it's going to be there, and that whatever's happening is happening, for a bigger reason than what you can even grasp at that moment. And so, we have faith that, when things come up that we can't handle, my wife and I both pray about it in that moment. Like, we'll stop and we'll pray about it in that moment, and then we just give it. We give it to God, and we say, okay, it's too big for us. You handle it. It doesn't mean that, we get our electric bill and we're like, no, that's too big. You pay for it. But it means that, when something in life comes through, we say, okay, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And that's exactly what we did with this career change to Amazon. It was so fast because from the moment where I put my resume out, I had like 12 or 14 different applications that I sent out, and every single one came back. Thank you for your interest, but no. Thank you for your interest, but no, 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 no. Because my resume is very one track. Martial artist, martial artist, martial artist. Yeah, we can fill it up and everything like that, but I taught martial arts for 25 years. And then we prayed because it got frustrating, and we said, okay, it's in his hands. What's meant to be is meant to be. And then we heard from Amazon. And from the moment we heard from Amazon, it was less than 2 weeks from when I had an offer letter to be able to start a career. And so it happened really, really fast. And we just thought, coincidences. My family, what we say is coincidences are God's way of acting anonymously. And so this was just an anonymous act of God, and we decided to trust him and see where it would take us.
That's awesome. Excellent. Very good. Hey, what are you reading right now? I mean, are you reading any books? Who do you like to read? Who kind of inspires you in that way?
Yeah. Actually, right now, I'm reading for probably the 20th time Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hound of the Baskervilles. It's one of my favorite books ever. I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes nerd. But before that, I saw you post it. I read Extreme Ownership. I read Relentless. And those two struck nerves with me. Like, those were the big hitting points. Like, okay. And then I got ready to go. There's a new John C. Maxwell that I just picked up. that I'm going to start as soon as I finish Baskervilles again, and get on that. But my wife and I were talking about both of us reading the same book and then having our little book study going
Right.
through with that. But yeah, that's where we're at there. But we're sticking with that 75 hard challenge that this flame guy challenged us to do. So
75 hard, baby. Got to be
yeah.
75 hard. I was challenged by somebody else. It took me 2 years to accept the challenge. And now it's like, it's kind of cool because there's a bunch of people jumping on and doing it. But, reading was not really my thing. I'm not really a reader. I like to listen to things, I like to watch things, a huge movie. I'll watch any videos over and over. But reading was not my thing because I always thought, like, I'm just going to fall asleep. And I would because I wasn't really trying to grasp it. I was just trying to get it done. And one of my favorite books that I just finished before Extreme Ownership was Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Got to read that book. If anybody's watching, go check out Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. So good. Great story. Talks a lot about that mindset that we teach in martial arts, that we follow in our life. So that's cool. So any other books recently? Any videos, podcasts, people that you follow and watch? I love
You know,
I love Maxwell, by the way.
majority of my time recently has been fulfilling a promise I made to my wife before we got married, which was I was finally going to learn Spanish. So, majority of my time driving and just even free time instead of the podcast or anything like that, I've got the Babbel app that I do, and then there's this other iTunes group that has all these different little lessons and like lección uno básicos, and so basics from all the way up. And eventually, I'm just going to bust out one day and only speak Spanish for an entire day and surprise my entire family. But for now, it's just very poquito what I know. So I'm working on it.
Now, do your kids all speak Spanish fluently?
uh, that was actually all three of my kids. That was their first language, just like my
Okay.
wife. And so, like when
Okay.
they were growing up, like we would tell them open your mouth, like abre la boca, and so that's what they learned there. But then, years and years and years later, where they're not speaking it every single day at school with their friends, they understand it because their grandparents, their abuelitos, they only speak Spanish, and so they understand it. Um, and they can speak it conversationally, but I mean, not as well as my wife can for sure. Yeah, I got
Cool.
to learn enough to be able to teach in Spanish. So like "Arriba los manos,"
Right. Right.
is so I got that, but I'm working on the rest.
Well, there you go. There you go. Cool. Cool. Any other goals or aspirations for 2021 that you want to share with everyone?
Actually, we do want to celebrate this. We bought a house. We're building our fourth bedroom addition on it right now. 2021. Oh, every driver in our family, all four drivers, all have their own vehicle now. So, which is a little scary sometimes with two teenagers driving, and that about that. But
Oh yeah.
uh, the next big project we're doing here is the pool in the backyard. Like we want to have a nice big barbecue pit. So 2021 is all about enjoying life and enhancing it in different ways. I think like 2020 it was all enclosed in and whatnot. And I'm not saying we're going to go out, but we're going to go to the backyard and we're gonna do some stuff there.
Awesome, awesome, cool. Well, hey, we're gonna start wrapping things up, and I just want to take a minute myself. Just the reason that I do these videos is it's not really for me. My goal for 2021 was to highlight people that have motivated me, inspired me, challenged me in ways, and you're definitely one of those people from a very early time in my consulting career because we met around the same time that I started consulting. um, you were one of the guys that I looked at and I loved the way that you commanded the attention of the room. I love the energy, your energy. I mean, for those of you that haven't trained with Mr. Frader, you would absolutely love his classes. And the thing that I love is that, again, when I look at martial artists, I love that you got the traditional aspect, you got the extreme aspect, when you were here the last time, you were doing some Krav stuff and teaching self-defense and fighting, so you're not just this kind of one-sided, you've got like the whole package. And I hope that you continue, martial arts for your entire life, because you have a lot to offer. And I'm happy to hear that, you're still working with Mr. Silva and doing great stuff out there. So thank you for all that you do for the martial arts community. And thank you for, what you're doing now. I know how important your family is. Family is the number one priority in my life. And I know it's the same for you. So I really, truly appreciate that about you. So thank you for everything you do and the person that you are.
Well, thank you, sir. That it means a lot, and I really appreciate those words, and I appreciate you having me on here today. And I think that what you're doing is great. You're definitely giving some amazing martial artists a platform to be able to be highlighted, and all these instructors that you're having on here, and influencers in the martial arts industry, and even past that. We spend every day highlighting our students and highlighting families, but we don't highlight ourselves very often. So you're giving a platform for us to feel what we're putting out. So thank you for that, and thank you for providing that for us.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it. And, just to kind of give everybody a heads up, here's some of our upcoming guests. We have Mr. Chris DePalma, who actually I've known since high school, and we did jujitsu together. I earned my jujitsu black belt from him, Japanese Katsugo jujitsu. We have Miss Hillary Brooks coming up in a couple weeks, Mr. Robbie Beard. Um,
That guy.
Robbie Beard, man. I mean, that's going to be awesome. And I have confirmed two. I mean, everybody's a celebrity, but these two were like a wow for me. And we got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson coming up. And I just confirmed this afternoon that Ernie Reyes Jr. will be a guest on the show as well. So stay tuned, guys. There's going to be a lot of good stuff. So, Mr. Frader, I want to give you just 60 seconds, 30 seconds, take your time. I want you to spread a message of motivation and inspiration to everybody that's watching now, everybody that will watch in the future on our YouTube channel.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think that one of the things that I've been able to see now, being on the outside of the industry after over 2 decades being inside of it, is just how much of an impact martial arts truly makes. We talk about it a lot, and sometimes we see it, but it's kind of like when we see our kids every single day. It's a lot different when you see them 1 month and then you don't see them for like 6 months later. You can see how much they've grown, and you see the differences like that. But every single day, it's dulled a little bit because it's a smaller progression. I'll say this: martial arts, it does more than I think anything else that you can put your child into, or even as an adult that you can put your inner child into. The confidence that you gain in every aspect of your life, the discipline that you're going to be able to channel to accomplish goals that you didn't think were possible, the team and the camaraderie that is going to become just a lifelong asset for you to help you get through struggles or to celebrate, your achievements. I mean, there's no words to say except just whatever you're doing. If you're not in martial arts yet, try it out. If you are in martial arts, keep going in one way or the other, because the life skills that you're going to gain is going to be far more beneficial than anything that you're going to see on TV or play on a video game or even reading a book. Let's get on that mat and let's get working.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, hey, thank you so much for all your time today. Truly appreciate it. I'll upload this video onto our YouTube channel. You'll be able to check it out, share it with friends and family. Been a huge motivator and an inspiration. So, once again, truly appreciate you. Thank you guys all for tuning in and watching today. And we'll see you next week on Monday at noon. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you,
Frater.
sir. Thank you.